Ever open a pricey whiskey and think, I got robbed? That feeling costs Americans $1.5 billion a year. Whiskey prices have almost nothing to do with quality. And today, I'm proving it. We're ranking 12 bottles from worst to absolute worst. And number 6 isn't even legally whiskey. I read the lawsuits, track auction prices, call out the BS, and there's a lot of BS right now. It might surprise you how deep the deception goes. Grab a glass. This one's going to sting. Number 12. Sir Davis, $89. Beyoncé's whiskey. And before you defend Queen Bee, hear me out, because the math on celebrity markups gets way worse as we climb this list. Look, I love Queen Bee lemonade, masterpiece, renaissance, chef's kiss. But this whiskey? This tastes like someone took regular American whiskey and slapped a Coachella VIP price tag on it. Contract distilled. Nothing special about the liquid. You're paying $65 extra because Destiny's Child is on the label. The whiskey itself? Fine. Not offensive, not exciting. Vanilla forward with artificial caramel notes and a thin, watery finish that screams mass production. Here's the math that hurts. $89 for 750 milliliters equals $3.56 per ounce. Wild Turkey 101 costs $22 for the same size. That's 88 cents per ounce. You're paying 4 times more for inferior whiskey. The marketing talks about honoring her great-great-grandfather's legacy. Beautiful story, touching narrative. But the whiskey doesn't honor anything except Beyoncé's bank account. It's standard American whiskey that you can find variations of for $25 at any liquor store. The bottle design? Gorgeous, Instagram-worthy, perfect for your home bar aesthetic. But you're not drinking the bottle. You're drinking what's inside, and what's inside tastes like missed opportunity with a celebrity markup. Save your money. Buy Wild Turkey 101 for $22. Spend the other $67 on actual Beyoncé concert tickets. At least those deliver the experience they promise. But if you think Beyoncé's pricing is aggressive, Conor McGregor's whiskey makes her look generous. 11. Proper number 12. $35. Conor McGregor's whiskey. And if whiskey could throw a punch, this one would miss and hit itself in the face. I've tried this multiple times, hoping it would get better. It doesn't. Harsh ethanol burn on the nose, cloying artificial apple sweetness on the palate, and a finish shorter than McGregor's temper. It's like someone mixed Jameson with green apple Jolly Ranchers and bad life choices. McGregor talks big about this being proper Irish whiskey. The only thing proper about it is how properly it separates fools from their money. It's got all the complexity of a UFC press conference and about as much class. Whiskey Magazine gave this a 65 out of 100, barely passing. For context, they rate Jameson at 78 out of 100 for half the price. The backstory sounds great. Triple distilled, aged in bourbon barrels, blended for smoothness, all the right whiskey words. But words don't make whiskey taste better. This tastes like someone took decent Irish whiskey and dumbed it down for people who think Jameson is too sophisticated. It's Irish whiskey with training wheels, designed for people who want to look sophisticated without challenging their palate. The worst part, there's genuinely good Irish whiskey at this price point. Redbreast 12 costs $40 and tastes like what Irish whiskey should be. Rich, complex, with notes of dried fruit and spice. Powers costs $25 and has more character in one sip than this entire bottle. $35? Buffalo Trace. Same price. Actually tastes like whiskey instead of liquid marketing. Now here's where things get legally interesting. The next 2 bottles don't just disappoint your palate. They've disappointed federal judges. 10. Templeton Rye. $35. The Iowa whiskey that wasn't made in Iowa. Plot twist. It wasn't made how they said either. $2.5 million lawsuit settlement. They lied about everything. Where it was made, how it was made, what made it special. Turns out, MGP sourced whiskey with fancy marketing. Now, MGP makes good stuff. But Templeton was charging craft prices for mass-produced spirits while spinning fairy tales about their small-batch Iowa heritage. Every sip tastes like deception with a side of false advertising. The flavor profile? Generic MGP rye with artificial vanilla and fake oak notes that scream flavoring added. It's like drinking a lie that costs $1.40 per ounce when honest rye whiskey costs half that. The marketing was brilliant. Prohibition-era recipe, Al Capone's favorite, made in Iowa by generations of farmers, except none of it was true. The whiskey was made in Indiana by a massive industrial distillery. The recipe wasn't from Prohibition, and Al Capone probably never heard of Templeton, Iowa. They got caught, sued, settled, and somehow people still buy this stuff. The whiskey itself isn't terrible. It's decent rye with standard MGP spice and grain notes. But every time you drink it, you're rewarding a company that built their entire brand on lies. Here's what really bothers me. There are honest rye whiskeys at this price. Rittenhouse rye costs the same and doesn't come with a side of fraud. Old Overholt costs less and has been honest about what it is for over 200 years. $35? Rittenhouse rye. Same price. No lies required. But that lawsuit is nothing compared to what just happened with these mini bottles that broke the internet. 9. Fireball Minis. 99 cents. 99 cents. But here's the plot twist that has lawyers salivating and broke the internet. They're not whiskey. Multiple class action lawsuits currently in federal court just exposed this bombshell. These little bottles? Zero whiskey. They're 16.5% malt beverages cosplaying as whiskey. The big bottles? Real whiskey at 33% ABV. These minis? Malt beverage with whiskey flavoring. The Illinois case seeks over $5 million in damages. The New York case was certified as a class action in September 2024. Millions of people buy these thinking they're getting the same product as the full-size bottles. They're not. It's like ordering a Tesla and getting a golf cart with Tesla stickers. Actually, worse. At least the golf cart doesn't pretend to have a V8 engine. Here's how deep the deception goes. The packaging is nearly identical. Same logo, same branding, same cinnamon flame design. The only difference? The word whiskey appears on the full-size bottles, but not on the minis. That's it. One word buried in the design that most people never notice. The lawsuit alleges this is intentional consumer deception. Sazerac, the company behind Fireball, argues it's clearly labeled if you read the fine print. The minis say malt beverage in small text. But who reads microscopic print on a 99-cent impulse purchase at the gas station checkout? That's exactly the point. They're counting on you not reading it. The really frustrating part? If they'd just been honest about it from the start, nobody would care. Market it as cinnamon-flavored malt beverage. Price it like malt beverage. But they wanted whiskey credibility with beer production costs and beer tax rates. Federal judges are now deciding whether this crosses the line from clever marketing into outright fraud. The fact that multiple courts are taking this seriously should tell you everything you need to know about how egregious this deception really is. But that lawsuit is nothing compared to what's coming next. We're entering premium price territory where the psychology gets really twisted. 8. Old Forester 1910, $65. The double-barreled darling, $65 for what amounts to whiskey with training wheels. Don't get me wrong. Old Forester? Solid distillery. Been around forever. Know what they're doing. But this innovative double-barreling process? Marketing speak for, we put it in another barrel for a few months. The result? Regular Old Forester with the personality smoothed out. Overly sweet vanilla and caramel notes with zero complexity. It's like they took perfectly good bourbon and made it boring. You're paying $40 extra for them to remove character. At $2.60 per ounce, this costs more than some single malts. Meanwhile, Old Forester 86 delivers better flavor at 88 cents per ounce. The math doesn't math. Here's the process. They take their standard bourbon, age it normally, then transfer it to heavily charred new oak barrels for additional maturation. The second barrel adds sweetness, smoothness, vanilla notes, all the things that make bourbon approachable. But approachable isn't always better. Bourbon is supposed to have edge, character, complexity that challenges your palate. This process removes the rough edges that make bourbon interesting. It's bourbon for people who don't really like bourbon. The marketing calls it double-barreled sophistication. I call it expensive training wheels. It's bourbon designed for people transitioning from flavored whiskey to real whiskey. But why not just drink real whiskey? Old Forester 86 costs $22. It has personality, character, flavor that makes you think, grain forward with natural caramel and spice that develops as you drink. This costs $65 and tastes like they hired a focus group to remove anything interesting. Old Forester 86, $22. Tastes like bourbon is supposed to taste. But that $65 markup is pocket change compared to the price manipulation happening with Japanese whiskey. 7. Hakushu 12, $400 plus. This one hurts to talk about because it exposes the darkest side of whiskey speculation. Used to cost $60. Today, $400 minimum? I've seen it for $600. Same whiskey, same bottle, same everything. Except the hype machine went into overdrive. And here's the thing. This is beautiful whiskey. Complex, balanced, crafted with genuine skill and artistry. Fresh mountain air on the nose, delicate pear and green apple notes, with a clean, mineral finish that speaks to Hakushu's high-altitude distillery, Japanese whiskey at its finest. But $400 beautiful? That's $16 per ounce for whiskey that used to cost $2.40 per ounce. The whiskey didn't get 7 times better. The Instagram posts did. The auction fever did. The FOMO did. According to Whiskey Auctioneer data, Japanese whiskey prices crashed 18% in 2024, but retail prices haven't followed. You're paying bubble prices for a deflating market. This is what happens when whiskey becomes a status symbol instead of something you drink. People buy it to own it, to photograph it, to show their friends they can afford $400 whiskey. But they're not drinking it. They're collecting it. The Japanese whiskey boom created artificial scarcity. Distilleries couldn't keep up with demand. Prices skyrocketed. Speculators bought everything. Regular whiskey drinkers got priced out of their own hobby. This isn't rare. It's just hyped. There's a difference. Rare means limited production. Hyped means artificial demand created by marketing and social media. Nikka coffee grain, $65. 90% of the experience. Similar clean, grain-forward profile with honey and vanilla notes. 0% of the Instagram tax. Now we're diving into flavored territory, where the psychological manipulation gets really sophisticated. 6. Jim Beam Apple, $18. $18 for liquid Jolly Ranchers that's rewiring your brain to hate real whiskey. Aggressively sweet artificial apple on the nose, cloying candy flavors on the palate, and a finish that tastes like regret mixed with high fructose corn syrup. This isn't just bad whiskey. It's actively making you worse at drinking whiskey. It's training your palate wrong, teaching you to expect candy instead of the complex flavors that make bourbon interesting. It's like learning to play piano on a toy keyboard. You think you're making progress, but you're actually moving backwards. At 72 cents per ounce, It seems cheap until you realize you're paying for artificial flavoring added to neutral grain spirits. Real bourbon costs the same and actually tastes like bourbon. Here's what really bothers me about flavored whiskey. It's a gateway drug to nowhere. People start with this thinking they'll eventually graduate to real bourbon. But this doesn't prepare you for real bourbon. It does the opposite. Real bourbon has complexity, layers of flavor that change as you drink. Spice, oak, caramel, vanilla, sometimes fruit. But natural fruit flavors from the grain and aging process, not artificial apple flavoring dumped into neutral spirits. This tastes like someone took vodka, added artificial apple flavoring, and called it bourbon. The base spirit is so neutral you can't taste any bourbon character. Just sweetness. Artificial apple. More sweetness. Jim Beam makes decent bourbon. Their standard white label isn't exciting, but it's honest bourbon with grain-forward notes and natural vanilla from oak aging. This is Jim Beam in name only. It's flavored spirits trading on bourbon credibility. The worst part? It works. People buy this thinking they're drinking bourbon. They develop a taste for artificial sweetness. Then they try real bourbon and think it tastes wrong because it doesn't taste like candy. And speaking of artificial sweetness destroying palates, Jack Daniel's took this concept and made it even more aggressive. 5. Jack Daniel's Honey, $25. $25 for alcoholic honey that's teaching an entire generation that whiskey should taste like dessert. Regular Jack Daniel's? Fine. Honest whiskey with that distinctive banana and vanilla profile from their charcoal mellowing process. Add honey flavoring and suddenly it's cloying, one-dimensional, impossible to drink neat. Artificial honey dominates the nose, overwhelming sweetness on the palate, and a sticky finish that won't quit. This isn't whiskey anymore. It's honey liqueur pretending to be whiskey. At $1 per ounce, you're paying premium prices for what's essentially alcoholic candy. Jack Daniel's built their reputation on being smooth Tennessee whiskey, charcoal mellowed, easy drinking, approachable but still recognizably whiskey. This throws all that away for artificial sweetness. The honey flavoring dominates everything. You can't taste the whiskey underneath, can't appreciate the charcoal mellowing process, can't experience what makes Jack Daniel's distinctive. Just honey. Artificial honey. Cloying, overwhelming sweetness. Here's the problem with honey-flavored whiskey. Honey is already sweet. Whiskey is already smooth. Combining them should create balance. Instead, this creates sugar overload that masks every other flavor. Real whiskey has natural sweetness from the corn and aging process, vanilla from the oak barrels, caramel from the charring. These are subtle, complex sweetness that complement the grain flavors. This is just artificial honey dumped on top. If you want honey in your whiskey, buy good whiskey and add real honey. You'll taste the difference immediately. Real honey enhances whiskey flavors. This artificial stuff obliterates them. Now we're entering dangerous territory. Bottles that are everywhere, that your friends probably drink, and that I'm about to absolutely destroy. 4. Crown Royal, $30. The safe choice that's actually the most dangerous choice for your whiskey education. Your dad drinks it. Your uncle definitely drinks it. It's smooth, approachable, inoffensive. And that's exactly the problem. Bland vanilla and artificial caramel on the nose, watery mouthfeel with zero complexity, and a finish shorter than a TikTok video. It's designed to offend no one and excite no one. It's the Toyota Camry of whiskey. Reliable, predictable, boring as watching paint dry in slow motion. At $1.20 per ounce, you're paying premium prices for premium blandness. Whiskey Advocate rates this 78 out of 100, barely above average for a whiskey that costs more than many excellent bourbons. Crown Royal is the whiskey equivalent of beige paint. Safe, neutral, completely forgettable. It's whiskey for people who don't really want to taste whiskey. They want the idea of whiskey without any of the character that makes whiskey interesting. The blending process removes everything distinctive. No rough edges, no challenging flavors, no complexity that makes you think. Just smooth, sweet, vanilla-forward liquid that goes down easy and leaves no impression. I understand the appeal. It's approachable, non-threatening. Perfect for people intimidated by stronger whiskeys. But approachable doesn't have to mean boring. There are plenty of smooth whiskeys with actual personality. The purple bag is iconic. The marketing is sophisticated. The brand has heritage. But heritage doesn't make whiskey taste better. And sophisticated marketing doesn't create sophisticated whiskey. This is whiskey designed by committee, focus grouped to appeal to the broadest possible audience. The result is whiskey that appeals to everyone and excites no one. For the same money? Wild Turkey 101. Bold rye spice and oak tannins that actually taste like whiskey. Buffalo Trace. Grain forward with natural vanilla and caramel that develops as you drink. They have personality, character. Won't put you to sleep during the game. We're down to the bottom 3 now. And these represent everything wrong with American whiskey pricing at the low end. 3. Kentucky Gentleman, $18, which is neither from Kentucky nor gentlemanly. And it's about to teach you why cheap doesn't always mean good value. This bottom-shelf disaster tastes like someone mixed ethanol with caramel coloring and called it bourbon. Harsh alcohol burn on the nose, artificial caramel sweetness that can't mask the rough edges, and a finish that tastes like regret. Has all the complexity of paint thinner and twice the harshness. At 72 cents per ounce, it seems like a bargain until you realize you're paying for punishment. Even at this price point, there are better options. The name is misleading. Kentucky Gentleman suggests quality, heritage, craftsmanship. This delivers none of those things. It's industrial spirits with bourbon flavoring, mass-produced, artificially aged, designed to be cheap, not good. The taste is harsh from the first sip, alcohol burn that never mellows, artificial caramel sweetness that can't mask the rough edges. No complexity, no development, just harsh alcohol with fake bourbon flavors. Here's what really bothers me. This gives bourbon a bad name. People try this thinking they're experiencing bourbon. They hate it. They conclude bourbon isn't for them. They never discover what good bourbon actually tastes like. Bourbon can be affordable and still be good. Evan Williams costs the same and tastes like actual bourbon, grain forward with natural vanilla and spice. Old Granddad costs less and has more character. Even Jim Beam White Label, which isn't exciting, is honest bourbon. This isn't bourbon. It's bourbon-flavored alcohol designed to hit a price point. Quality is irrelevant. Taste is irrelevant. Only price matters. But even this disaster looks premium compared to what's coming in the final 2 spots. 2. Black Velvet, $13. Canadian whiskey that tastes like regret and makes you question every life choice that led to this moment. Harsh ethanol burn on the nose, unbalanced artificial flavors on the palate, and a finish that's mercifully short because you don't want it to linger. This is drain-pour whiskey masquerading as a bargain. At 52 cents per ounce, it's cheap. But so is gasoline, and I wouldn't drink that either. Canadian whiskey can be excellent. Crown Royal, despite being boring, is at least smooth. Canadian Club has character, grain forward with natural vanilla and spice. Lot 40 is genuinely good rye whiskey with complex fruit and spice notes. This gives Canadian whiskey a bad reputation it doesn't deserve. The harshness hits immediately. Alcohol burn that never subsides. No smoothness, no balance, no redeeming qualities whatsoever. It's like they took neutral grain spirits, added artificial flavoring, and called it whiskey. I've tried mixing this with cola, ginger ale, even fruit juice. Nothing helps. The harshness cuts through everything. The artificial flavors clash with mixers. Even in cocktails, it tastes wrong. Here's the thing about cheap whiskey. Cheap doesn't have to mean bad. There are decent whiskeys at this price point. Not great whiskeys, but drinkable ones. This isn't drinkable. This is punishment. For the same $13, buy literally anything else and have a better evening. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The absolute worst value in American whiskey. Number 1. Seagram's 7 Crown, $12. The undisputed champion of terrible decisions and the bottle that's probably ruined more people's relationship with whiskey than any other. This isn't whiskey. It's punishment in a bottle. Harsh chemical burn on the nose, artificial caramel flavoring that can't mask the industrial spirits underneath, and a finish that tastes like regret mixed with rubbing alcohol, completely devoid of any redeeming qualities. At 48 cents per ounce, it's the cheapest on this list. But some things are expensive at any price. I've tried this multiple times over the years, hoping it would improve. It hasn't. It's gotten worse. Or maybe I've gotten smarter. This is the whiskey that gives whiskey a bad name. The taste is aggressively bad. Harsh alcohol burn from the first sip. No complexity, no smoothness, no reason to exist. This has been around forever. Generations of Americans have suffered through this thinking it's what whiskey tastes like. It's not. It's what bad whiskey tastes like. There's a difference. The marketing calls it America's whiskey. That's insulting to America. We make excellent whiskey, bourbon, rye, Tennessee whiskey, American single malts. This isn't representative of American whiskey. This is representative of American cost-cutting. According to Wine Enthusiast, this scores 80 out of 100, which proves that professional reviewers sometimes lose their minds. For comparison, they rate Evan Williams at 85 out of 100 for the same price. I understand the appeal of cheap whiskey. Not everyone can afford premium bottles, but cheap doesn't have to mean undrinkable. Evan Williams costs the same and tastes like actual whiskey, grain-forward with natural vanilla and caramel. This exists because people buy it. They buy it because it's cheap. They assume all whiskey tastes this bad. They never discover what good whiskey actually tastes like. It's a vicious cycle of low expectations and lower quality. The whiskey industry is counting on you not doing this math, not reading these lawsuits, not questioning why celebrity bottles cost 3 times more than better whiskey. Don't give them the win. If this saved you from liquid regret, smash that subscribe button. I've got more whiskey truth bombs coming that'll make this list look tame. Drop a comment. Which bottles have fooled you? What overpriced whiskey should I destroy next? The comment section gets spicy when Crown Royal fans show up. Check my best bottles under 50 video next. Cheers.